What's up everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Ralli Roots, and myself, my wife Allison, and our friend and employee Callie, we're all full-time resellers. We buy stuff and then we sell that stuff online for a profit. In today's video, we're gonna share with you 31 items that we sold on eBay for a profit in the month of May. So there's 31 days in May. This is an item that we sold every single day in May for a total of 31 items. It's not everything that we sold on eBay, but I picked out 20 items that I found, and then Allie picked out 11 items that she sold, which gives us 31 items. 31 items for the month of May. Hopefully you can learn something from today's video. These are all items that we personally found, listed on eBay, and then sold ourselves. You're welcome to go look at our account. It's called The Hip Lion, and I'll link it in the description of today's video. Also, if you enjoy videos like this, one way you can help support us is by subscribing to our YouTube channel and also hitting the thumbs up button on today's video and leave a comment if you would like to. Okay, so the first item up I found at a local estate sale. I paid about $40 for it. It is a turquoise inlay wood vase, and it did have an artist signature on the bottom. It said like applewood, and then it had an artist signature. I just liked it. I thought it looked really cool. Sometimes you got to go with your gut on stuff like this. And we listed it pretty high, I think like $268, and it sold for full price. So $40 into $268 from a local estate sale find. Next up, this was a really good flip. We recently went to Texas to source stuff with a bunch of our other reseller friends. And at one of the thrift stores that we went to, I found this pair of Dior slides. They looked legit to me. Great condition. They were $30, so I paid up on them a little bit, but they sold for us on eBay very quickly for $400. 30 bucks into $400 from a thrift store in Texas. Next up is another pair of shoes, probably a brand that you've heard of in the past, Doc Marten. I found this pair of, they're like tuxedo kind of style looking Doc Marten shoes. I found them at a thrift store for $10, and they sold on eBay for $72. I've noticed that Ralph Lauren is making a comeback in the market. It goes through, downs and peaks and valleys of value. But the color block button-down shirts are selling for decent money again. This particular one I found at a local Goodwill for $9, and it sold on eBay for 40 bucks. Here's a pretty cool sale. I went to a local garage sale, and the guy had a bunch of these Funko Pops. I bought all of them. They were all these little like Freddy Funko character, like different styles of this Freddy Funko. So I think I got 6 of them. 2 of them we listed, and they are currently for sale. I think one of them might have sold actually. But 2 of them we listed by themselves, and then the 4 of them that weren't worth like that much money individually, we just lotted up all 4 together, and they sold together for $60. And I believe I want to say I paid 40 bucks for all of the Funko Pops at the garage sale. Next up is a knife brand that you should get familiar with if you're not familiar with already. The brand is called Case Knives. They make really, really nice high-end knives. Some of these knives can go up into the hundreds, thousands of dollars of value. This particular one I found 3 of them at a garage sale. I want to say I paid $40 for 3 of these Case knives, and this one by itself sold for $38 on eBay. Next up, this is actually a pretty funny one. We were on our way to the Goodwill bins, and I put in the wrong address, and it took us to a Goodwill bins way further out than I wanted to go. But we went into the store anyway, and I found this bathing suit in one of the bins. The brand is called Trina Turk, and because it was the Goodwill bins, it's pay by the pound. So I probably paid like 75 cents for this bathing suit, and it sold for us on eBay for $35. Another pair of Doc Martens. This one was pretty unique. It had little like a floral design on it. It's kind of like a velvety feeling texture to it. Again, Doc Marten brand, doing really, really well on eBay right now. I paid $10 for this pair at a Goodwill, and they sold for us on eBay for $80. Here's another estate sale find. I bought these trophies purely because I thought they were cool. I didn't look them up. I had no idea what they were, and they ended up being a really good score. The brand is called Niels Anderson, and they're just like, like bodybuilding muscle trophies. And people use them now. They were vintage too, but people use them now. They'll put little plaques on them, and they'll give them away at, like weightlifting or bodybuilding type competitions. So I bought them at the estate sale. I want to say they're like 12 bucks a piece. I'm not totally sure, 12 or 15 bucks a piece. And 2 of them have already sold. One of them sold for $60, and then the other one sold for $55. And actually at that same estate sale that I got those trophies at, I found this Indiana Jones bag. It's like a side satchel kind of bag, and I paid $8 for it, and it sold for us on eBay for 50 bucks. Here's another Goodwill bins find. This is a good brand to be on the lookout for. They are called Luminera candles. They have like the real wax on the outside of them. I found these at the Goodwill bins, probably paid like a couple bucks for them, $2 to $3 for them, because they were home goods prices. We made sure they were working, obviously, and then we listed them together and they sold for $47 on eBay. This next item is a yard sale find. I paid $50 for this. This is one of those items that it's like, I didn't really know anything about it, but I looked it up based on the brand and the model, and I saw that they were selling for decent money. So I didn't mind paying up on an item at a garage sale. Sometimes you're not gonna get those $2 into $200 flips. This was a $50 purchase into a $165 sale on this Fishman Aurora, like drum effects, little electronic device. Again, I had no idea what it was. I knew it was a drum effects thing, but I had no idea what it was worth. I looked it up and saw sold comps on eBay, and I decided to buy it, and it sold fairly quickly. 50 bucks and 265. This next item is a North Face backpack, which here's something I didn't know. I didn't know that backpacks could be gender specific. This was a woman's North Face backpack. I don't know what makes it a woman's backpack. Maybe it's a little narrower or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, we got it in one of the Amazon mystery boxes that we bought. So we were into this backpack for maybe like $5 or $6, and it sold for us on eBay for $179. You may have seen us source this next item in one of our past YouTube videos. I found this jersey in the Dominican Republic. We went on a little adventure. I'll link that video somewhere up here, but we went on a little adventure in the Dominican Republic, found a clothing flea market thing, and I paid $15, roughly $15 for this jersey, and it sold for us on eBay for $69.69. Next up is a pair of like muscle bodybuilder gym pants, like the loud, like 80s style gym pants. I found this one at a Goodwill, this pair at a Goodwill. Paid like $9 for them, and they sold for us for 39 bucks. This next item is kind of funny. I found this at a Goodwill. It's a Tesla charger like faceplate, and I bought it to replace our faceplate on our charger because the charger is just like black, and this one's like a cool like frosted glass. So I wanted to replace it, but when we got home and I tried to replace it, it was the wrong size. So I guess they make different style chargers. Maybe ours is an older one and this is a new, smaller one. Anyway, I bought it for $9 at a Goodwill, and because it didn't fit, I just ended up selling it on eBay, and it sold for us for 45 bucks. This next one's really cool. Again, another garage sale find that's been in one of our past videos. I found 3 vintage hats at a garage sale, paid 10 bucks for all 3. He asked 5, I gave him 10 because I thought that one of the hats was gonna be worth good money. It ended up being worth more money than I thought it would be worth, and it sold. So this is a vintage New York Knicks snapback hat, and it sold for us on eBay for $123.45. And I believe that sold to a subscriber. So whoever bought that from us, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy it, and it makes your collection complete. This next item is another example of like sometimes I will pay up for stuff at a Goodwill. Goodwill had these shoes marked $30, which I mean, it's high, it's a lot of money, but they were in really good condition, good size, cool color. On Cloud is the brand, very popular brand. $30 into a $60 sale. The only reason I bought them was because I knew the condition was good, the brand's good, and that they were gonna sell fast. So if we had spent $30 to sell for $60 and it took a year for that item to sell, that's not really worth it. But to pay $30 to sell for $60 and it sold within a week, that is worth it. It's a good flip. And lastly, this is a very interesting one. So I was at a Goodwill. I found this Nike jersey. I don't know baseball very well. It's a Phillies jersey. On the back it said D Torres. I figured it was a player. It was a nice jersey, new with tags. So I bought it. I think it was like $12. And then when I got home and actually researched the jersey, I never found that player. So I think it was one of those jerseys that like you could customize with your own name on the back. I don't think D Torres was ever a Phillies player. I don't know, I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But either way, I was like, it's still a nice jersey. I don't want to take it back. I don't want to be that person to like take something back to the thrift store. I was like, I'll learn from this mistake. But it ended up being a good flip anyway. I put it on eBay for I think 80 bucks, and it sold for us for $50. Maybe to someone with the last name D Torres, I don't know. But yeah, it sold for 50 bucks. So still a good flip, 12 bucks into 50 bucks. That's my 20 items that I found, sourced, and then sold on eBay. And now we're gonna jump over to Allie, and she's gonna tell us about her 11 items to bring us up to 31 total items for the month of May. Hopefully you're enjoying the video so far. over to Allie.
Now it's my turn to talk about the things that I found to sell on eBay. So one of my first sales, MC Escher tie. We usually don't buy ties unless there's something special or unique about them, and this tie was one of those items where I know that we do well with the vintage t-shirts and the art is very desirable. So I found this tie, I believe, at a thrift store. It was in perfect condition. Always check for stains because, again, they're silk and you can't always get stains out of silk. Maybe it's a little bit fickle, but perfect condition, beautiful tie, and it sold for $39.10. This item, very, very funny. I had it in my closet and I needed to get rid of items that I wasn't wearing all the time. And it was a very unique item, right? Like it's a Frontier collection leather fringe vest with really, really cute beading. I wasn't wearing it, so I couldn't justify keeping it and wasting space in my closet. So I figured, I know it's valuable, let's sell it on eBay. It's a really cute item and it sold for $44.88. This vintage Coach purse sold for $118, and it was one of my personal purses from my closet from a purge that I needed to do. And then whenever Ryan and I realized that vintage Coach purses made a comeback, that's whenever I realized, let me go in my closet and pull out all of my vintage other Coach purses. I don't need them. I have so many purses and I can just buy new cute beaded purses maybe. So I gave him all of my vintage Coach purses and this one sold, which was really great. This item, kind of funny, was another experiment for us. So Callie and I had a bunch of women's clothing that we needed to get listed. So I told Callie, hey, let's take all of the women's clothing that fits me just in any way, shape, or form, go outside, take pictures in it, AI the backgrounds, and then hoping that by doing that, people would just click on the item. And whenever you AI the background, we just used Instagram because it was free. But whenever you AI the background, it compresses the file and it's not the clearest, best picture. But in addition to AIing the background and having an image of me wearing the item, Callie took pictures of the item so you can clearly see this is the item, this is the condition it's in. I do think that it does help people click on the item because they can see what it actually looks like on somebody, and the athletic wear doesn't always look on the person the same way it looks just hanging. It looks better when somebody's wearing it. This was no exception. Took a picture of it on me. I think that it probably helped it sell, and it sold for $40. The next item is a plushie. So I always try to look for plushies, and I try to look for limited edition, highly desirable, sought after, maybe a small run of items that are very unique and more in like a niche market. So when I see something that I don't recognize and it's really unique, I always look it up just because when something is old and vintage and I know that people are looking for nostalgic items, again, I'll look it up. And this item, I found it while we were thrifting in Houston or Dallas? I don't know. But whenever we were in Texas, we found this item thrifting and somebody else said that they would buy it if I didn't want it because they just thought it was so funny. And I looked it up and it was a character to a video game, which is really interesting. So it's a Bugs Nax Bunger Garden Grove stuffed plushie. It's like a cheeseburger bug and it's sold for $54.87. I don't even think I found an exact comp for it. I think I found comps for other characters when I purchased it, but Callie listed it really well, really great price, and it sold for a lot of money, so yay. The next item is a vintage college town skirt. When I initially purchased these from an estate sale, there were really a couple of these skirts, and I had every intention of listing them all together, but I didn't specify that to Callie. And then also the measurements were off by 1 inch, so I think that we had a 25, 26, and 27 inch one, and I figured, oh, we'll just sell them all together. It's not a big deal, but I forgot to tell Callie, so they all got listed separately, which not a big deal because it sold, and it sold for $22. And we typically don't sell items on eBay that are less than $35 because our costs are really high to get stuff done. Like we have this big building and we have an employee, but every once in a while we have the lower priced items, and that is okay because you just want your store to be active and moving. This Victoria's Secret's kimono style robe sold for $35. It's 100% silk and it's vintage, but the reason it sold for a lower price is because there were a couple of imperfections on the robe. And normally you could probably get between $50 and $70 for this type of robe, but the stitching was out. We listed it a bit lower. We kept getting lower offers on it, and once we had about 4 offers all around the same price, we sent out this final offer for $35. Ryan didn't want to accept any of the offers because I found the item without me saying, all right, that's fine. But I looked at the pictures and there were a couple little marks on it, and I never washed the robe because it was silk and I didn't want to mess it up. And I figured whoever gets it, they can figure out how they want to clean it, you know, dry clean it or whatever. But it wasn't perfect, sold for $35. I don't think we paid much for it. I don't even remember where we found this robe, but if anyone's seen that video and you do remember, please let us know in the comments. I think we got it thrifting or at the bins, but I don't think I paid much. So it's just another really great item, really easy, really cute. Love it. I should have kept it, but I'll take the 35 bucks. This is another of the vintage college town skirts that we purchased. And this one is the 27-inch college town skirt, and it's a blue flannel. So this sold for $20.48. Again, I had every intention of listing them all together to get that price point up so that our ASP would be a bit higher. I think it was wise that we did separate them instead of listing them together because, you know, whenever I first glanced at everything and I held them up next to each other, they looked the same size, but they were actually off by an inch. So it was probably safer to do it that way. All these little extra $20 sales here and there, they add up at the end of the month. So I'm not mad about it, and I am kind of happy that we listed it that way because it may have helped it sell a lot faster. This maxi dress, now I remember a couple years ago, apparently the denim 90s maxi dresses were going for really, really good money. And I think they made a comeback for festivals and EDM concerts. I'm not really sure, but I remember somebody mentioning it to me in the past. So when I found this, I got really, really excited. I just had to buy it because I thought it was really cute. It's PGB brand, and that brand isn't notorious for being like this amazing brand, fast selling, but what makes the dress valuable is the age and the style and the fabric. Denim, maxi, 90s, vintage dress. That's what made it valuable. Not super valuable. It sold for $28.68, but again, it was just something fast and easy to sell. It's not something that's gonna get returned because it doesn't fit right because it's a more loose fitting item. So I felt really confident buying this dress and selling it, not concerned about a return, because whenever we buy women's clothing, I do get concerned about returns if it's a very fitted item versus a more loose fitting item. So I do prefer to sell more loose-fitting items in case of getting a return, but our return rate is really low, so that shouldn't stop you from buying something, and I let it stop me from buying things, but it's a good sale, and I'm happy with it. Next item, vintage Cannon towels. I love vintage linens. I love vintage towels. I love 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I just love, love, love vintage towels and vintage Cannon towels, especially if they're dish towels. They do really well for us. If you can find them cheap enough, pick them up because just take a risk on them. They're super easy to list. They're super easy to ship. If you need to wash them, they're really easy to wash because you can just add them in with all of your other stuff. And I know we always say profits, not projects, but I will purchase something if it needs to be washed if I'm doing that type of laundry anyways. I don't even think I washed them. They sold for 2 vintage hand towels. They sold for $34.40, and Ryan's even picked up vintage hand towels. He knows that they sell well, and we've been doing pretty well on them. And I always tell myself, if they don't sell, I'll just keep them, but they always sell. So it goes to show that they are a good, desirable item to sell on eBay. And then lastly, I actually remember when I found this item because I was super excited. We were at a garage sale in Sun City Center, and it was in a retirement community. And we're just walking around and I see all these different little jewelry boxes, and I'm always attracted to crystal. And I walked over to this little jewelry box and I thought to myself, wow, this one's really cute. Maybe I'll just buy it for myself to go with all the crystal stuff in the bathroom. I could put something in it. It'll just look nice. And then I saw on the bottom, the Tiffany & Co. And I got so excited. I had no idea what the value was, but I bought it for I think $2. I had it at the house, keeping it safe so that nothing happened to it because I kept forgetting to bring it to the warehouse in a drawer, not using it because again, I don't want to damage it because it's a Tiffany one and I knew it was probably worth money, and it sold for $50 and we paid $2 for it, and I brought it to the warehouse and Callie took pictures, and it was just one of those situations where I just had it sitting in a drawer to keep it safe and then realized, no, I don't need this, all right. Brought it to the warehouse, sold $50. Whenever you are looking at crystal, always look at the bottom. There's usually a sticker or a marking, but there are a lot of high-end brands that don't mark their crystal. That's okay, because the ones that do are worth a lot of money, and then you can sell them for good money. I wanted to keep it, but I'm glad I didn't, because $50 is $50.
How did it go?
I think it's aight.
All right, everybody.
Oh,
thank you for watching.
That's a heavy arm.
Today's video.
Oh.
I'm Ryan Roots.
I'm Ralli Roots.
And together
we are Ralli
Ralli
Roots.
Roots. Please subscribe, and
I really hope you learned something interesting today about our really weird sales,
I
like
hope you didn't.
vintage
I hope you learned nothing.
towels. What was everything you found, like vintage t-shirts?
No. I believe it or not, there's some good stuff for sure. You'll have to watch the video to find out.
Yeah, well, two of the things that I talked about came from my closet.
Oh, nice.
So that's cool.
Well, you do have some good stuff to sell. For sure.
I have way too much stuff in my closet also. And
All right,
a lot
guys.
of good stuff.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
All by myself. All by